Welcome to Bitches in Season, a podcast for everyone who loves dogs,
all things agility,
and some spicy tea.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Lynsey.
Bitches in Season.
Welcome back. It's episode 4 time.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
It is wild. It's super fun to do this with you guys. Thanks for being my podcast friends.
I know. I'm so glad we did this and we're doing this. And
even if us and our husbands are the only people who ever listen.
Yeah,
I still just love yapping with you guys.
I know.
It never gets old.
It's
It'll
fun to
never
like
get old.
yap when we have like topics to like, we have like actual guidelines and outlines to like chat about.
What? We don't love your 7-minute long voice notes,
What?
Rachel? Detailing every minute of your day?
Yes, everyone loves that.
All right, episode 4 is called Bitches in Controversy, and we just wanted to talk about like little scandals and controversies that we've been embroiled in, or just things that have rocked us a little bit or that we've dealt with. So before we start, Lizzie, Obi, I know you've been bummed. He's working his way back from his toe injury, but he had a big win in a new fun thing you're doing. Tell us about it.
He did. So we did a virtual scent work class when he fractured his scapula 3 years ago. I kind of just did it then and only did it at home. And then I recently started a nose work class with him. My instructor told me about a mock trial and she was like, you should do level 2 and sign up. So of course I did.
First of all, I want to shout out that you never actually did nose work besides the online class, and then you went to an intermediate nose work class.
Advanced.
My bad.
Okay.
Advanced nose work class. He was perfect like every single class.
He was.
And
He was a little
he was
chaosy,
perfect
though.
at
The
his
videos-
first trial.
Yeah. So we found 6 out of the 7 hides and
The only other problem was your fault.
it was me because
course.
I
It's always us.
just did not. He was clearly indicating, and I watched all the videos back because Henry came with me, and it was like clear that he was indicating, and I'm just not calling it. And so definitely a me issue, but he was so great, and he had so much fun. He was
That's
so
awesome.
happy.
Are you gonna trial now for real?
I am. So
You're bitten by the bug?
we are signed up for our very first.
Already?
Yeah, I sent out the entry today in the mail.
Oh
The
my
mailman
God.
picked it up.
Wow.
I registered him. I have a number. He has a number, and we're doing it.
Are you doing AKC or NACSW?
No, so we're gonna do NACSW because I heard it's like the UKI of agility. It's a little bit more challenging. And AKC has some rules against like
well, right,
dogs.
he's wearing a boot right now.
Right. So they're allowed to wear boots, but the dog can technically not be injured or have injuries. So there's a little bit of like
Gray area while he's
where
coming back.
a lot of people told me he would probably be okay if I put boots on all 4 of his paws and have no bandage showing. We did
What's going on?
NACSW. He did well. And I'm like, let's just go down that road.
That
So,
works, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you also tell us what
exciting.
you learn, like in your nose work journey and what you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
It'll be so fun to follow along.
I know. Yay for Obi doing a new thing. He's
Yeah.
such a good sport.
And it's good mental work for him
Yes.
too. He's probably been losing it,
Yeah.
Bored
hanging
out of
around
his
during
mind.
his injury.
It's a fun new thing with an Obi.
Bitches in controversy. So we love to talk shit about
do.
other people's controversies, but we're going to talk about our own controversies today. And I think I want to start with Rachel because I think yours hits close to home for me as someone who used to have French bulldogs and feel some type of way about the way people treated me when I didn't have like one of the most standard agility breeds. So tell us about the controversies that you felt around showing up at events, showing up at training with a Corgi.
So I guess my topic is having a breed that people typically like to write off because she's either an 8-inch dog or she's a Pembroke Welsh Corgi. She's also very fluffy, so she looks kind of like a chunk, like not gonna lie.
She does.
She true.
She
Yes,
does look
she looks like a
fat.
chunkosaurus. So people look at her and they're like, oof, she's not gonna be fast.
One
She's
of the
not gonna
first
be
times
speedy.
before I was your friend, I like made my husband come over and I was like, watch this dog. Like it looks like a little dopey Corgi that's just gonna like do around. And then she starts running and you're like, how do her little legs move so fast like a Super Mario brother?
We
'Cause you
always
can't
joked
see them.
around that she had to be fast to keep up with the Aussies.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
tracks.
she had Obi to keep up with.
That's fair. I feel like seminars, at big events, at local trials, people kind of like wrote me off, didn't really pay a lot of attention to me. And I guess where I first saw it is in local trials where they're just like, oh, another Corgi person, no big deal. And then they would watch her and see her run in agility, and they would be like, oh my God, she's so fast.
Yeah,
She's
they're
so
shocked.
fast. She's so good. I mean, we worked our way up in AKC agility relatively quickly, so people were just shocked by that. Then when we started getting a little bit better, I started increasing, the type of training we were doing, working on more international stuff, working towards gearing up for the ISC championship and the US Open. We were going to some more like international seminars under some prestigious handlers from overseas. And there was one seminar that I showed up to, and they were going through the run order for the people that were in attendance. And the seminar instructor was like, there's an 8-inch dog here? Who has an 8-inch dog?
Like with a nasty attitude about it.
Such a nasty attitude. And I'm just like standing there. I said, me. And she just looks at me. And I felt like then the vibe changed for the rest of the seminar. And she kind of wrote me off after that. She didn't give me as much ring time. She told me my dog was sensitive. And I felt like our turns were shorter than others.
Do you think it's because 8-inch dogs can't compete in
I do.
Yeah.
I definitely do. I definitely think that's the reason. They're not used to seeing. I remember listening to a podcast actually where it was an international agility handler talking about how they were very shocked to see corgis in general running agility here and seeing how popular they were because they don't see that overseas a lot because they're an 8-inch dog.
Do you think people think that means you're not that serious?
Yeah, I do. But we are, and I am so serious about it. There was a reason that I upped my training, and I wanted to attend these international seminars, and I started focusing on, fine-tuning our advanced skills. And then when we showed up to the US Open, just there, and no one really paid any attention to me, and then we started doing really, really well. And I just felt like after we started getting on some boxes and proving our skills and showing that we really had what it took to be there and be successful, then we started getting some more attention and people started
that
talking.
Had never spoken
yeah,
to you
people that
before.
never spoke to me before. Even local people just started giving me some more attention. And I'm not going to lie, it felt really, really nice, but it also was kind of like, you would never talk to me before, but now that I've kind of proven myself, I'm good enough to talk to.
It's an interesting phenomenon. I definitely went through that.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who messed around with Frenchies and, running around, sniffing and all of that to where I've gotten with vision to see how it changes your friendships. And of course, if I wasn't going to these things before and nobody knew me, why would they just talk to me? I usually don't just straight up talk to strangers. But then once you're doing well, then you definitely have kind of this credibility with
this gear.
It's
like a shift
of people.
Yeah.
the
There's
Facebook friend requests.
Oh my gosh, the influx. Yeah, there's definitely a shift in how people treat you. That's really.
I think it's mostly good spirited.
It is.
They're just
listen. That was my first time at the Open.
Congratulating you. And,
yes, it was my first time at the Open. So I'm a newcomer, anyways.
Yeah, it's not like you can say, "Oh, I went before and no one talked to me," and then I did well. So you've never been there before.
Never been there before. So it was my first time meeting a lot of these people in person and stuff like that. But
I do think an event like the Open, I would say that a lot of the people there are from our we've seen at events because we do have such a big community here that does go to the Open. So
True.
Yeah.
No, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I mean, I think that's my kind of controversy is that people look at Chessie, they see me. She's my novice A dog, my first time dog, and they don't take us very seriously. And then they see her run and they're like, oh man, she's actually really good. And I'm like, yeah, we worked really hard to get there, though.
One thing I do love, though, is that you have your built-in Corgi community.
Yes, I do.
All the people who run Corgis around the country are kind of instantly your friends, and you just took a big Corgi photo at the Invitational.
Yeah.
So cute.
We'll
have
so
to share
cute.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've gotten really close friends with people basically from across the country just because you both have corgis and you kind of know that journey of training that special breed.
No, for sure. It's brought me one of my best friends in the agility world. So because we both can relate having a small dog and a Pembroke and just what it's like no one taking us seriously until they see us run. So it's nice to have those people too that take the sport just as seriously and they're working on building up on those skills. So Yeah, so that's my little hot take, I guess.
Well, I'll go next
Lynsey,
because we're
yeah.
going to save Lizzie's for last because it's the best one. But my controversy is so different.
So different.
I feel like it's primarily centered around what I wear and how people react to what I wear.
Yep.
And I just want to start by saying I feel as though I dress in such a way that I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
I dress in a way that you would see women dressed in any gym or yoga studio or Pilates class
True.
in America.
That's true.
Correct.
But it's unusual for agility, I guess. I wear biker shorts or crop tops or, tank tops. And I've definitely gotten a lot of commentary about how I dress.
Yeah, you have.
Which I find just really interesting because I'm very body positive and kind of have a mindset of why are people so obsessed with talking about women's bodies and what they wear, especially if it's different. And I feel like maybe just some of the nature of the agility community is maybe a little bit more old school,
very
about
sure.
things.
conservative.
Yeah, in some ways.
Yes.
And, I feel like I look at it as a sport and I wear what I'm comfortable with. I wear things that I would wear out in normal everyday life.
Yep.
And that draws a lot of attention for better or worse. I don't really care that much, but I do find it kind of funny. And
Yeah.
I guess every once in a
Has
while,
it ever bothered you, though?
I guess every once in a while I've gotten for sure a little annoyed. Just the fact that why does this have to be a topic that we talk about?
Yeah.
Or
Why is this a thing?
there's sometimes where I'm like, wow, I wish I could just wear what I want without that being something that people comment on. But I do know that other times I wear things that spark topics. Like I have hot pink shorts or
that I definitely have heard about. Yeah.
I've also accidentally worn the wrong color things or the wrong things to a lot of events. Like when we took our AWC team photos.
What color shorts were you wearing?
Okay, well, to be fair, they told us that we were taking headshots that day. Headshots. So I wore my shirt that I was supposed to wear. I didn't know we were taking full body photos with the whole team, and everybody was wearing normal navy blue, and I was wearing pink shorts.
Pink shorts. I heard about this. I was literally walked into a seminar and everybody was doing a lunch break and sitting at the lunch table talking, and somebody at the club literally shoves a photo of you in my face the second I walk in and is like, "Did you see what she's wearing?" And I'm like, "Yes, I have heard."
Lynsey and her pink shorts.
Yeah, and then the picture was literally passed around the lunch table, and everybody is
Wow.
is talking about, and I literally am sitting there, and I'm like, "Lyns, you'll never guess what's happening right now. You'll never
Well,
guess."
I did joke that I have main character energy.
You
so
do.
That's
It's
why
true.
I want
You
to
just
wear
had to
my-
stand out in the picture.
Had to stand out.
Yeah.
And speaking of standing out, I've also gotten some commentary on the fact that, sometimes maybe my nipples show
Sometimes.
through my shirt. And I've had people point that out to me too. I've had some fun jokes about it. Like if I point my nipples in the direction I want Vision to go, he'll go there faster, which is true. Like the chest laser, as
Yeah.
they say.
It's true.
So I guess the controversy for me just has to do with what I look like, what my nipples are doing. Guys, we all have nipples, okay?
Yeah, seriously.
They're fashion accessories. It's just like anything else. It's not that big of a deal, is how I feel. Don't make
Yeah.
that face at me.
I'm not. I'm laughing in my head about how ridiculous it is, honestly, that someone would bring that up to your face.
I mean,
It's just crazy.
know.
I would never do that. I would think it as a private thought in my head. It would be a quiet thought.
yeah. Well, my haters are my motivators.
That's true.
Or maybe they just appreciate it. Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe
Who
that's
knows?
it too.
Speaking of haters, Lizzie,
Yes.
please tell us about your amazing dog book controversy that
All right.
spiraled from Instagram to Facebook
Yes.
last year.
Yes. All right. So I'm literally on my way to the creek with the dogs, and all of a sudden I get this influx of screenshots being sent to me. And my dog, Cassian, ended up on Dog Book Tea because of his head.
Wait, tell the backstory of how the Instagram piece went down.
So I do anon messages on my Instagram.
Because you love pain
I
and
do. I
torture.
love pain and
you love when
torture.
people say
Yeah,
mean things to you
I
and you
do.
can't find out who it was.
No, she hates it, and then she bitches about it.
and then she does,
she
it,
does it
again
again.
and again.
Again and
Reminder, she has 19,000 followers, so
And whenever
Yeah.
we see her posties and Ask Me Anything and Non, we're like, oh,
Why?
Lizzie's asking for torture again today. But continue.
continue.
Yeah. All right. So it was a question post in my anon messages, and the person asked, is this his head standard or in compliance with the Ask Us breed standard? No hate to you or your opinion. I do think he's a nice dog overall. So I state that no dog is perfect, and yes, he does have a large stop, but overall, I do not think he's out of standard.
What's a stop for people who don't know?
Yeah, so a
the
stop
breed
is like the
terminology?
forehead of a dog's like head.
You know so many things about
I
breed
know.
standards.
Yeah, so obviously it's the muzzle, and then the stop connects like the head to the muzzle. So Cassian has a pretty pronounced stop, and it's from his dad. He looks identical to his dad. So
A lot of the dogs from your breeder
Yeah.
have that appearance.
yeah, so it's he's very typey. People usually can look at him and know right away where he's from. So then,
But is it out of breed standard?
there's so much that goes into a standard for a dog. It's not just like one thing, and it's not a DQ. It's not an NQ.
Okay.
Like he obviously has been shown and has won. So,
Okay.
some people hate it. Some people don't mind it.
All right. So his head gets some feedback,
Yeah.
and you respond to be like, he's not perfect, but
Correct.
he's won some stuff, and his
Yeah.
head's like roughly in line with the standard, but
Correct.
just like a little bit different.
Yeah.
And his head is one of your favorite features
I
about
love his
him.
head.
He does have a big old noggin.
Yeah, I love his head. So then, a couple of days later, on this Facebook group called the Dog Book Tea, somebody made a post that stated, "Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but what are people's thoughts on this dog's head in relation to the breed standard? To me, his head looks exactly like the bottom drawing, which was a drawing of a dog that was like out of standard for an Aussie, which she says he does not look like. I understand he is a well-bred dog, and I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just very confused by this post." So they literally screenshotted my story and then posted it in this Dog Book Tea group, which ended up getting over 300 comments. But I'm going to
And
read.
we were originally like freaking out when
Yeah.
this first happened because that's not tea. The dog book tea is like people being messy, people
or
being like
abusive
abusive,
to
like
dogs.
Like
yeah.
people
bad
being
breeders.
dishonest or cheating people.
Yeah.
And this is not tea. This is like, I don't like your dog's
Dog's
head. And
head.
she says it's in standard, and I think it's not.
So what do you guys think?
And this is a big, big Facebook
It is
group.
a big Facebook group. Yeah. So I have a million people sending me this, like, "Oh my God, did you see this? Oh my God, did you see this?" And I will say that like 99.9% of the comments were very uplifting and very like positive. And, people were like, again, this is not tea. Like,
This is
go
just
find
being a
something better
hater.
to do. Yeah. But I'm going to read you some of the best comments about Cassian's big old head. So my favorite one is, "He looks like he's wearing a football helmet."
I agree.
Yeah.
Kind of does.
Then there was somebody who said, "This dog looks like a slow dog," in comparison to like a working Aussie. Somebody said, "For real, thought this was a Roddy mix."
LOL.
LOL.
This dog has himself 5 heads, not a 4 head.
That's kind of funny.
And then somebody said, "I think he's ugly." So
Yeah, there was a lot of like, I don't like it, and I think he's hideous.
Yeah,
but this
but-
isn't tea, and it's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
There
half
you
thank
go.
you, but half that's not very kind.
Yeah, so just I guess people don't like Cassian's head. It's not the first time I've gotten, some controversy comments or, questions on Instagram. And I think the thing that like really just made me laugh was like, it wasn't even about me. Like, I didn't produce this dog. I didn't create
And you didn't.
him.
You're not online saying like he's perfect and his head is flawless. You're just
Yeah.
like, hey, okay, like he has some flaws,
Yeah.
as does every dog in the breed ring.
Correct. Yes. And I'm not saying that it is 1000% correct, but like he's not out of standard.
Okay, but to me, the best part of this is the Scooby-Doo mystery of who sent
Right.
this story
Oh my
and
God,
then
yes,
who
you
made this
have-
anonymous Facebook post.
So the person clearly screenshotted my photos in my story. And then I don't know, you probably know this, but if you look in the bottom corner on the left-hand side, if you screenshot something or you're on your Instagram account, it has your profile picture.
But like tiny.
tiny. somebody from my follower list literally went through all of my followers and was able to match up this tiny, tiny picture to somebody in my follower list and found out who posted the anonymous dog book tea
And what
post.
did you do, Lizzie?
Of course, I messaged them. Of course.
Called them right out.
Oh, I did. And she was like, I didn't mean anything mean by it. Like, I was just curious. And I was like,
Maybe
if
she
you
could have
were
just
curious,
asked
you could have asked me. Instead, you went to the dog book tea. And I think she said some other things that were very, like, clearly defensive because...
I think she also said she learned her lesson,
Yeah,
though.
she did say she learned her lesson.
She got piled on a little bit.
She
Yeah,
got
she
piled on
did.
hard. But yeah, that's fun. If you're a part of that dog book tea group, you can go back and look at it. It was in August of last year.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I remember seeing the post and like I was just like my heart dropped.
I know.
I was like,
wait,
what's
what?
happening? What did I miss here? I sent it to, I think I called you.
You did
in like
call me.
I was like, did you see this?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
The thing is I was okay because it wasn't really anything against me. It's my dog. Again,
True.
like I didn't create, he's just a dog. Like,
Right.
you know, I
And
bought
then it
him
was the
from a
mystery of
breeder.
like, who posted this?
Right.
Who
Yeah.
really hates Cassie that much
Yeah.
to make a
Right. Yeah.
post about him?
Yeah, and the thing was is we found out she did have an Australian Shepherd that we looked at the breeder and they were not a good breeder at all. And
Lizzie's the queen of
yeah,
determining who's a good
I am.
and bad breeder.
Obviously I am. And her dog was complete, like she didn't even do confirmation. Like she didn't even show. So she's just
What do they call that? Like an armchair quarterback?
Yeah.
Like you're just like not even in the sport and
Yeah,
you're
but
sitting
you're
there
like-
trying to say how good you'd be.
yeah, yeah. So
Fascinating.
that
Fascinating.
was my fun controversy of Cassian's big old noggin.
Bitches in controversy. That was fun to chat about and see
Yeah.
like how we've been embroiled in our own scandals, controversy,
I'm
and
sure it won't be
hot
the
topics.
last one.
Hopefully not. I don't know. Sometimes we more like to watch the drama from afar.
We do.
than
That's
be
true.
involved
I
in
don't
it.
like to be involved in it. I don't like to be like hated on or
Yeah.
think differently about.
Well, who
Um,
among us does? Well, now we have a podcast, so we can introduce a whole new
A whole
line
new-
of haters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We
yeah,
are
people can
asking-
judge the shit out of me, I guess. So go for it. We're amazing.
Post your reviews.
Yeah. Put them in anonymous. All
We'll
right.
find you.
Our fun segment to wrap up today, we're just going to talk about broken shit and how we're fixing it. And that would be pertaining to agility in terms of like what's going wrong for us, because something's always going wrong.
Yeah.
And what are we doing about it? I can start.
Yeah, you
because-
should start.
Wow. Sad. Well, okay. Vision's seesaw has been a mess lately, and he flew off his seesaw like bad fly offs, both agility runs at
He
EO
was flying.
tryouts.
He thought he
Yeah.
could actually fly.
So that was really
He did it at the
upsetting.
invitational too.
Okay, but only on the last
I
run.
know. He was mostly a good boy. I'm sorry.
It's
I love
okay.
you.
No, it's
Mostly a good
upsetting
boy.
because like so I never taught a 4-on seesaw before, and that's kind of like all the rage. So that's what I decided to teach him. And I think where I went wrong was when I first started trialing with him, letting him quick release
Yeah.
in trials and just sort of like release himself, because I was trying to cut time and not trying to hold him on the seesaw and like proof that staying element of it. So I never did that. I never did any runs where I was like proofing his seesaw when we started trialing. And then he did a little bit of launching early on, and I quickly was like, oh, no, we're not doing that, sir. Strong no. But then he got a little sticky and he started stopping like halfway up.
Yeah.
So annoying. I was like, oh my gosh, we can't just meet in the middle here. So I did a retrain. I took an online class. I think he was getting really good.
He was looking really great in
Yeah.
class. Yeah.
And then, the last few big, like medium local events or ISC trials leading up to tryouts and the invitational, he was doing a lot of quick releasing, especially if he had to get up there and do a blind or something. And then that led to, and that energy of the tryouts, he
yeah.
went flying. And at the end of the day, like, yes, I'm upset about it. Yes, I'm working really, really hard on it. But I'd rather him be high and have this confidence
I
than
agree.
be
Yeah.
down, because he is finding like a new gear, I think. So
Yeah.
just trying to work on that happy medium and probably picking and choosing some spots at small and medium events to do fix and go and FEO. So that's my strategy for now, is just let him know when it's not acceptable, because at home and in practice, he's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's really the trial energy that gets him. So that's my story. Rachel, what are you fixing?
Start line stays. Chelsea broke her start line stays the first day of Invitational.
And
like
this
from
is
the
not a new
get-go.
thing.
Well, she's done it at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, she did at the US Open.
Yeah, let's be open here. This is not a new thing.
When she feels like nervous energy from me, she definitely pushes and thinks that her start line stay is
Optional.
a lot of times.
a lot of times. And it doesn't allow me to lead out where I need to be. And then I get all flustered, and then I'm running and frantic, and it's just a mess. So
who fixed it for you?
Oh, Lynsey did. And she'll never let me forget it. So what we did is she's like, I think you just have to be a little bit more stern with her. Because I would just like take the leash off and I'd be like, stay, wait.
And I was like, say it like you mean it.
So day
it's
2, I took the leash off, got in her face, and I said, stay. And she looked at me, and she sat her butt on the ground, and she did not move.
Yeah, I feel like it's not being unkind.
No, I
You
was
can,
not being
be
unkind.
like, sit, good girl, here we go, stay, you better stay, I mean it.
And she's like, yeah, bitch, okay. The energy child's so high, you haven't let me done anything for a month. I'm not staying.
And she
So-
just laughed.
So that it worked for the rest of the weekend. She kept her butt on the ground and did not release until I told her
That's 'cause
to.
She knew you meant business.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh shit, mom is serious
What
right
a
now."
good girl. And good for you.
I know.
Not letting her push it.
I know.
'Cause
I
she
did
will
the
keep
first
pushing
day.
you. Yeah.
She will, yes.
Yeah. So I guess we have a trial coming up this weekend, and it's just ISC and AKC. But I'm going to hold her accountable. If she
have
breaks that start line
commit
stay, then we
to
are
fixing
fixing
it.
going it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason. It does not mean anything.
Yeah.
So, and this is the time to practice. Like, local trials are practice. That's the mindset.
Yeah.
So hold me accountable, guys.
You better.
So that's my thing. Lizzie.
Well, Cassian's perfect now, so I have nothing to say.
Okay.
No, I mean, so we were obviously going through the biting, and we worked on our before the ring
Routine.
and now we have a perfect before the ring routine, and I know what he needs. I know how much time he needs before we go into the ring, and that seems to be working. And he hasn't, I better knock on wood here, but has not bit me in about 3 months now.
That's crazy. That's so amazing, though.
And it wasn't
know.
just like a nibble on your
no.
shirt sleeve.
No,
it was
no.
like bruises all over your body
Yeah.
from him nailing you like
Yeah.
publicly in trials. So the
Correct.
progress you've made has been really remarkable because of the work you've put in.
Yeah, so I put a lot of work into him. And what I'm finding now is feel like, because I work so hard to get rid of that behavior, I think he's afraid of being Ron. Like, I think right now he doesn't want to be Ron, so he's like not going as fast, and he's like a little bit slower than I think he was.
He'll find that confidence.
So
though.
yeah, I think right now is like working on that happy medium of like, I don't want to overcorrect him, but I also
don't want to get back to where you used to be.
Correct. Yeah. So I want to help build his
wanna-
confidence up a little bit,
him
but
to have like impulse control and
Yes.
appropriate arousal, not
yes,
over arousal.
not over arousal. So that's kind of like what I think I'm working on with Cassian. And well, we'll see what Obi does when he gets back to agility,
He
because
hasn't
he's
done
going to
agility
be.
since November.
I know he's going to be pushy because he's already my pushy
Maybe his
boy.
start line stays will be broken.
Yeah. Well, there was
Why would
always
you wish that on her?
that has always kind of been a problem with Obi, is like he's pushy on his contacts and he's pushy on his start line. So
True.
yeah, I don't doubt that is not going to be an issue when he comes back.
Well,
so.
you'll just be thankful he's back. And
I
then
know.
you'll build
No,
it
I
back.
will. Yeah,
We'll get
exactly.
it back together.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
So that's our broken shit and how we're fixing it.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us for episode 4. We're really excited to bring you another episode in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram at Bitches in Season. And subscribe to our podcast on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you're listening. Thanks for tuning in today.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.